I'm Margot Vieira. I am the great-great-great-granddaughter of Elias Jackson, Lucky Baldwin. Only when I became an adult did I discover how much Elias Jackson had achieved in his life.
He was born in Ohio, grew up in Indiana, and came to California in wagon train in 1853, just after the gold rush. Eventually, he got into the Comstock Lode in Virginia City and made about $5 million. And with that money, developed 50,000 acres of land he owned here in the San Gabriel Valley. He knew good farming land, and because of this lake, the plentiful water made a fabulous ranch for him right here.
The lake, in my view, is the crown jewel for all of the Arboretum. It's been featured throughout the decades in highlights, such as film and television.
Starting in 1936, we had Tarzan escapes here. Road to Singapore with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. War movies, Objective Burma was an award-winning thing with Errol Flynn in it. And it continues. Meet the Fockers, filmed right here. Parts with the Queen Anne Cottage right next to us.
The lake needs to be preserved and brought back to a natural flow for all of the habitat that enjoys it, and also just aesthetically it needs to be cleaned up.
Over the years, the depth of the lake has greatly diminished. We've gone from a recorded depth of 12 to 15 feet. Today the average depth is 30 inches. And all sorts of ecosystem problems accompany that reduction in depth. This lake is the collection basin for this part of suburban Arcadia. 155 acres, the neighborhoods to the north of here all the way to the 210 freeway drain into this lake. And of course, with urban runoff comes a lot of chemicals and materials that are really unwanted in this kind of environment. A first step is to determine the nature of the sediment that has filled the lake. I became aware of Tetra Tech as this international engineering firm with a fair amount of expertise relating to bodies of water like this. So it just seemed like a natural fit that our neighborhood international engineering firm might get involved with this.
This is the first step in restoration of the lake, Lake Baldwin. We are collecting sediment cores. We're going to collect 5 cores. They're going to push down a 4-inch diameter aluminum barrel. And inside that barrel there's a liner, a polyethylene liner. And they're going to push it down to our target depth, which is roughly 17 feet below the mud line. They're going to pull it back up and they'll give us that sediment core. We'll look at the lithology and describe it. We'll look for any abnormalities or any indications of environmental impacts. And we'll collect the samples and we'll send it to the lab for analysis. Once we get the results back from the lab, we will evaluate them and look at the levels, the concentrations of each of these analytes. Best case is that they're relatively low and we can reuse this sediment once it's dredged on site for beneficial reuse.
We're not just talking about digging up some sediment that's come into the lake over the last 50 years and try to deepen it. If you look at the children that are here today, it's a magnet for kids, and we've got to make it safer and we've got to make it cleaner.
This is in our backyard, and we like to do projects everywhere, but particularly in our backyard when it's related to community involvement. The obvious benefits are for the lake itself, to restore the lake's ecology, but it's part of a wider project, looking at the watershed as a whole and developing best management practices for the watershed.